Hello everyone, this is the LEGO Star Wars The Last Jedi First Order Star Destroyer set. The first thing I need to get out of the way is the fact that this does indeed come with a minifig of Snoke. And it's official, he's totally not the new Emperor Palpatine for the sequel trilogy. He's just some random, very old, very physically deformed, decrepit looking, mysterious, ultimate overlord of the, not Empire, but First Order, and master wielder and master teacher of the dark side of the Force. Totally not the new Palpatine. But he does have a cool figure. I like the two different golds that they layer up to give the nice shimmer, the nice shine to his outfit. They got a lot of folds into his skin. Not quite as nasty looking as the actual dude in universe, but I think a pretty respectable Legoification of him. No alternate face, of course, because he doesn't have hair to cover it up, but they have continued the print pattern around the back, which again looks good. You just have to kind of turn it to make sure that the light hits it right for you to truly be able to appreciate what they've done. I'll come back to the rest of the minifigs later in the video like I usually do, but for now I want to focus on the main thing you actually get with this set. Officially, it's designated a Resurgent class battle cruiser, and I believe this one in particular is supposed to be the finalizer, although I don't know if there are any specific design cues that you could tell from the outside that particularly make this the finalizer, other than the fact that it has Kylo Ren inside of it, and assumedly Snoke as well most of the time. I think LEGO has done a really good job of capturing its shape and the things that make it unique and stand out from the original trilogy era Star Destroyers. The assembly was really good, went together really well, has a lot of different texture. It's not a boring build. It also has a lot of very useful interior space. We'll get to that in a minute. One of the major themes that sets this apart in its design from those original trilogy era Star Destroyers is the use of a lot of hollow space, which was specifically made to allow starfighters to fly through there, to give you a little bit of the taste of the trench run from the Death Star, but just going up against Star Destroyers. So the designer has tried to show that tiered design and some of the hollow space by leaving open areas and creating kind of bridges between different levels using single stud pieces where possible, leaving dark areas behind in many areas. They do use these stud shooters here, which I think in general are fine to include, but in this case they can't even be turned, and I don't like that. The fact that these are just static, they will only fire essentially down at an angle in one direction. I think that's a poor choice there. They really didn't need to add anything there in terms of action features, because in this case they don't really contribute much to play since you cannot aim them. Basically you can just try to do ship-to-ship battles with these in broadside formation. The bridge area uses some kind of micro-scale style design and just good use of parts to capture the overall shaping. There is a little bit of break to the design and the type of part textures used towards the front, because once again they've included a retractable handle to allow you to pick the whole thing up, the entire ship up, with just one single finger. So that actually works well. I think that black axles here would have been much better served, but fortunately at least those are easy to replace. If you decide to display this above eye level, I think it looks pretty decent from the underside. You've got the tops of plates showing around the sides, so that's much better than undersides of plates for such a visible area, especially just from the side. It doesn't have as much detail as the top, obviously, but then the bottommost level does have the undersides of plates, and those actually don't look too bad to me. I kind of like their configuration. I just don't like that one red piece that's a little bit too obvious there towards the front, but that's another one that's easy to replace if it does bug you. And I think this thing looks pretty decent from around the back. Not too much in the way of poor color choices here. You do have that one tan piece there, but I don't think that stands out too much, and some of the smaller Technic elements in blue and red don't really bug me so much here. I do like the arrangement of the engines, but this could have used a little more detail for the sake of display. To open this up, you flip the bridge back first to give some space for the side panels to open up, and all of this just folds out in 2 large assemblies per side. Now none of this is intended to look good, and therefore it doesn't. It just exposes exactly how this was built, with up to 11 plates of thickness at the tallest part. The actual minifig accessible interior space, though, is really good, very generous, with plenty of spaces to seat figures and to stand them. Most of the walkways have a 3-stud width, and some areas have more than that. You know, when they take things down to a 2-stud width, that's absolutely the minimum. Really makes it difficult to pose your figures the way that you want. They do use some stickers here to really good effect. I think they're absolutely critical and important to just really make everything pop, but you see also a bunch of printed console pieces down there in the pits on either side of the walkway there. There is a stickered console piece towards the front, but look at this over here in the middle, little stairway. That's nice. It looks appropriate with just that stack of the spoiler or wing pieces. A bunch of stickered console pieces over here again that I think look really good, and again, there's plenty of space. You could put 3 figures into this one room without them banging elbows against each other. You know, it actually looks useful and usable. A couple of clips off to the side to hold on to some minifig accessories. And then the other side over here is not exactly the same. They've got a conference room table there, right? And again, more space, another console back here that could be used for controlling something. I don't know what exactly, but it looks pretty good. That's a droid we'll look at with the figures, but this is kind of a working turbo lift. I mean, it's absolutely minimal, and there are a bunch of red Technic pieces around here, but the idea is that you can put a figure onto that brick right there, right, to simulate the operation of a turbo lift. They've got just kind of a track for this guy to move up to the next level. Now, regular stormtrooper probably wouldn't be going up to talk to Snoke, but assumingly this is Snoke's throne room, right, where he's done his holographic projections from. Now that is not very impressive itself. You know, it's really, really minimized, and maybe a little bit disappointing. Maybe they'll eventually do a throne room set just separately. We'll see, but the set does include an additional one of those little holographic pieces that was originally used to represent Palpatine, but here it's representing Kylo Ren. Or is it? When you close this up, you can't have figures standing absolutely everywhere. There are kind of some unsafe spaces around the edges, but you can leave figures in fairly realistic positions throughout much of this. You just have to lean Snoke back, and then all of this is able to come together nice and safely and securely to store all your figures, or just to fly them away. We've already looked at Snoke, so here on the left is a First Order officer, unnamed, and on the right is a First Order shuttle pilot. I guess he'll be one of the pilots taking Snoke and/or Kylo Ren back and forth in one of their limos. The guy on the left is all gunmetal gray as his primary color, including the hat. Just has a very nice insignia on it, and they did the visor section of it in black with a paint application, and I think the prints on the backs of these torsos are appropriate. No alternate face for either, though. Looking at the droids, on the left is an uncredited, I'm assuming like a doctor droid, medical assistant droid, something like that. Could be an FX9, FX10 or something, but they don't even list this on the minifig panel on the box, but it is built in the process of the thing, and they have a little spot for it specifically to stand. And then on the right is officially BB-9E, but I'm calling him Darth Ball because that's what he is, and I think he will play a major pivotal role in not only this coming movie, but after that in Episode 9. I think that he's going to end up being one of the major spoilers of the entire universe. Last and least are the two First Order Stormtroopers. The one on the right is just perfectly normal and plain. The one on the left is just perfectly normal and plain, plus he has a white-colored pauldron, which officially should make him a squad leader, though LEGO I think mistakenly called him a sergeant. Nice to get the pauldron piece. Always a little bit of extra collectible and display value for those, but otherwise just a couple of regular troops, which are good to get. You know, you can't get too many of these guys. One thing you can get too many of, though, is angry clone. Angry clone. Personally and subjectively, I actually feel the value here for this set is pretty respectable. Having built the thing, having seen the interior detail, having lifted it up and feeling just how much bulk there is there, I think the minifig selection is fine. The price to part ratio is within a normal range. It's lower than many unlicensed sets. There are a lot of 1x1 pieces, you know, smaller parts in this set, but there are also a lot of larger and larger still pieces. I feel like that all balances out. And the size isn't tremendous, but the size on the exterior plus the size of the usable interior space together, I think, give you some good stuff for your money. From a LEGO model design perspective, I don't think there are too many things here that could have been done much better, realistically, reasonably, given the actual real-world constraints of designing a model for the public to actually buy and build. What I definitely do not like, though, is the choice of stud shooters, non-movable stud shooters for the turbo lasers on the sides there. I think that's a real serious miss, and they just don't provide much value. I think they actually don't look all that bad from any kind of distance, but you need to be able to aim those in some kind of way. And that does it for my look at the First Order Star Destroyer, aka the Finalizer Resurgent Class Battlecruiser. Hope you enjoyed this video. I've got many more on the way, so I'm going to keep working, and I'll talk to you again very soon.